Microsoft Excel, working with arrays. We want to name an array. Well, what is an array? An array is basically just a group of cells. If I look at this data that's sitting here, I've got information from cell A1 all the way down to cells D12. Rather than selecting this range of cells, we're going to actually say, let's give it a name. But before I do that, I want to look at the information here just a little bit. On the far left-hand side, I say that anything from 100 thousandths, or excuse me, from 1,000th of an inch to 1.5 thousandths, I want to select the 1.5 inch bore size. Anything that is from 1.575 to 2 inches, we're going to select a 2-inch bore. This reference column is just helping me to establish a range between the two numbers. Here's how I set up this range. If I go in here to cell A3 and I double click, it shows that there's a formula in there in which I take cell B2, multiply it by 1.05, which says anything that is 5% above a 1.5 inch bore, go to a 2-inch bore. I could go through and set up any criteria that I want for moving forward for when I go to the next sizes. So I set that up. So now I look at my information, I go, here's a 1.5 inch bore with a 5/8 rod. Well, that's not what it says. It says a 1.5 bore with a 0.625 rod. We usually talk about these in fractional sizes. So I go in here and I select all this information, I right click on it and go to cell format. I can change the format to a fraction, and I'm going to do 3 denominators and 3 numerators and click OK, changing it over to my fractions. This is what I'm a little more familiar with when I talk to people about cylinders. 1.5 inch bore with a 5/8 rod, a 2.5 inch bore with a 5/8 rod. So now I'm all set up with my information here. I want to go ahead and select all this information. I'm going to go over to my Formula tab, and in my Formula tab I'm going to click on Default Names, and I'm going to put down PN for pneumatic, and I'm going to put for tie, and I'm going to leave that as my cylinder, CYL, and click OK. And so it's going to take that range of numbers and it's going to change it so that that range of numbers is equal to that name. And I click OK. I can go in there and look at the name manager and it'll show me, there's my name, there's where the values are for the range of the cells. So I can set up and define a range of cells. Well, what does that look like? On our project that we're going to be working on for our assignment, I have some data already set up for you so that you don't have to do that. If we look, here are pneumatic cylinders. These are going to be the different style of cylinders. And with this, I've gone in and listed them out. So I say, here's the square body cylinders with their information. Here is the round body cylinders. Here's the NFPA 4 tie rod pneumatic cylinders. And likewise, you can see here's hydraulic cylinders. I've got a whole bunch of data in here. Here's electric motors. Here's information for sizing pipe. And going in there looks a little bit intimidating. We'll work on some things for understanding this a little bit better. But what I've done is I've gone and I've named this data. So where do we find those? We go to Formulas and we go to Names. And I can click on that and it'll show me here's different names of data that I have in there. So this video was on Excel, being able to go in and identify a range of cells with a name.